These are the words of a refugee. Every day I moved with caution, spoke sparingly to my workmates and neighbours to hide my real self. It terrified me, and every day my terror grew. At night I stared at the sea, and it scared me, and I trembled. But the far-off horizon beckoned. Every day it seemed more welcoming, and I ran to the unknown. Pope Francis has appealed to us to open our hearts to those who flee violence and war, injustice, poverty and climate disasters or persecution. It is about people, he says. If we know their stories, we will weep over the injustice they have suffered, cry over the corruption that took their lives, and cry over the oppression they suffered. Columbans have listened too. They know these stories. They understand the plight and have committed themselves to accompanying the displaced in their search for some soil on which they can comfortably place their feet. In Australia, the Columbans are providing refuge to asylum seekers and refugees, those who stand far from the spirit of the country that proclaims itself in its national anthem as renowned of all the lands for those who come across the seas. They know migrant workers from the Pacific and Timor-Leste, but the reward for their work is often harsh. Low wages, poor accommodation, abuse and insecurity. In Taiwan, the Hope Workers Centre opened its arms to migrant workers and trafficked people in 1986. Other centres followed in 1997, and in 2004, a third one specifically for Vietnamese brides. In Ireland, the Migrant Workers Centre is a Columban initiative. It began in 1990 as a response to the dramatic increase in migration. The support it offers is concrete. In 2013, it was recognised by the European Parliament with the Solidar Silver Rose Award. These are but a few examples. In many ways and in many places around the world, Columbans assist people in claiming often denied rights. Poverty must end because every life matters. We must all take part in the building of stronger communities. The Columban Center for Advocacy and Outreach is part of the coalition of churches in El Paso on the United States side of the Mexican border.
In many ways, it's been fortunate, I think, for all of us, for the Columban Society, that coincides with Pope Francis. Breath of fresh air in our church, the joy of the gospel, Laudato Si has guided much of our work, the cry of the earth, the cry of the poor, and also Pope Francis' very, very prophetic defense, but also very intimate relationship with refugees and migrants. And that's really been at the heart, I think, of our commitment, but also our joy to be working with the Columbans and in defense of migrants, defense of the poor, defense of the earth. Many of us, we often get down to the U.S.-Mexico border and we see Columban advocacy, Columban commitment, gospel commitment in action. We do our little part, and we hope that together we can make a difference in favor of welcoming refugees, in favor of caring for our common home, and bearing witness to the gospel in these times.